This is Self-Care-ish, a podcast where we talk about divorce, dating, choosing not to date, and saying yes to the things you've been scared to indulge in and no in a way that won't get you ostracized by society. The goal for this series is to defy some of the social stigmas and hurdles people face when they make a bold decision, whether it's to leave a relationship, quit a job, or even being brave enough to tell friends and family no when you're at capacity and you need time for you. And who am I? I'm Megan Lonergan. I've been a columnist and copywriter for over a decade, and I'm also a newly separated co-parent. And if there's one thing I love more than anything, it's meeting people where they're at. And where you're at is probably busy, most likely multitasking while you're listening to this. So with no further ado, it's time to get self-care-ish. Okay, you guys loved last week's episode. Maybe it was a Harry Styles or a Jonah Hill celebrity factor, or maybe it was because we've all had a run-in with coercive control. Maybe it's a little column A, maybe it's a little column B scenario. Either way, you guys had thoughts and you slid into my DMs with your stories, which I love to receive, by the way. Obviously don't like hearing that you went through hard times, but I do love connecting with you. Anyway, no ad this week, guys. Just me jumping pretty quickly into the meat of this self-care sandwich. But before I start, just a reminder to please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or drop us a review on Spotify Podcasts Interact. Every comment helps the show rank a little higher, so the hashtag self-care-ish message of putting your metaphorical oxygen mask on first before you assist others gets out there further to the people who might need it. So jump on there, leave a review, and I will be sure to shout you out next episode. Oh, and big thank you to Rocker Girl 87 in the United States, who titled her review, "Are You Sent From God?" Because she's currently going through a divorce, sending strength, and self-care-ish happened to land on her podcast screen at apparently just the right time. And Rocker Girl 87, if by God you mean the Gold Coast, Australia, then yeah, I was sent from there. But anyway, let's get into this. Welcome back to Self-Care-ish, a show where we take self-sacrifice and slather a rich, velvety moisturizer all over it to help lube you up enough to be able to give everyone around you your very best of your bestest self. Technically, we are a divorce show or a post-relationship show. Although our official stance is you don't have to be broken up in order to have the bandwidth to fill your own cup up. In fact, if you're in a relationship and you're a parent, or even if you're not a parent, let this be a good reminder that everything flows a little better once it's been softened up. So take this as a sign. Give yourself a little extra TLC this week. Actually, no, switch that up. How about a little extra TLC every week? And I say this because honestly, this week, I freaking need it. I woke up one morning earlier this week and I was super sluggish and lethargic, and it was a little bit of a mission to get up and do the school prep, and I am normally a morning person. I usually power from 5 a.m. and then I go sort of shaky around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. and then need a coffee to keep going. But I noticed that I was just a little bit funky. Loud noises were making me irate. I just started feeling overwhelmed with my inbox, all signs pointing to two things. One, I realized, I've entered the luteal phase of my period cycle, which, as many of you know, is also known as Hell Week or Survival Week for people with PMDD. And I have a whole episode dedicated to that, so just scroll backwards and get clued up, I guess, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And two, I also realized that this is the prime time for putting in a little extra self-care. And that's why I jumped on my laptop this week and started a little Google Sheet of free or inexpensive things you and I can do to create a moment of self-care in times when it feels like you don't have much time. What I might do actually is talk about a few in this episode, but share the Google Sheet in the show notes so you can just jump in and review it. And I've left it open so you can even add to it if you think of things that are cool and fill your cup that don't cost the earth. It could be something we can all share and tune into when we need inspiration. I'll start it off with like 10 things and then we can keep adding to it as time goes on. Honestly, this couldn't have come at a better time because on Monday, it's actually Monday when I'm recording this, so today, but Monday in your time, it was International Self-Care Day. But who says it only needs to be one day a year? I'm going to call it hashtag self-care Saturdays to kind of reference the pod, of course, but also try to create a little routine around this topic. You can self-care obviously whenever you damn well want and when it suits you because that's your prerogative. But it's kind of like that quote, you will never change your life unless you change something you do daily. And while you and I will never shake the stresses of life and work and everything to go along with living on this freaking planet, but you can shake up how you navigate it. And I guess if doing a little 10-step skincare routine makes you feel balanced before you tackle your inbox, then so be it. It's not really about the skincare. It is about telling your subconscious that you are worthy of this little activity that's just for you. And if that sounds a little bit like self-parentification, then yeah, it probably is. Because after a breakup or a divorce, let's just cut to the bare bones of it, there is this enormous sense of the love has stopped still. Whether it's you for them or they for you, and I'm here to remind you that actually the above doesn't really matter. What matters is it's all about the love you have for yourself, and not in some kind of cheesy cliche way, just in a, that's the kind of love that will sustain you in hard times, which are inevitable. And it will not only protect you, but in turn, your loved ones, like your kids, because it acts as a sort of defensive North Face style puffer jacket protective layer against the things that can happen if you don't love yourself. I'm talking things like jumping into another relationship with someone who's not right for you just because you're lonely, or leaning into alcohol a little too much, even if it's just cocktails with friends, because it numbs the pain, or consuming an entire tub of Ben & Jerry's in the time it takes to watch a Netflix movie, another feeling number. And I am not here judging you for eating, drinking, and fucking. Obviously, all good things in healthy quantities. But I say this because I have done all those things at different times in different phases of my divorce. So you're not alone in your half-drunk martini with a side of cookie dough life. If that's where you find yourself right now, it's all good. But every day is an opportunity to get back to your finest self, starting with small hashtag self-care Saturday activities. So let's take a break from music, and then I will break down my current 3 favorites to kick our self-care spreadsheet off. Here we go. Okay, hashtag self-care Saturdays. I'm going to talk about 3 things that are in the hashtag self-care Saturdays Google Sheet, but there are actually like 10 more in the doc. So once you've had a listen, jump into the show notes and visit the doc for the rest. And I've left it open for you, as I said, so add some as well if you want. So I guess this is kind of an interactive episode, and the tips and tricks that you use to lift your vibe, they might actually help other people as well. So we're like a little team working together to bring everybody up. Anyway, okay, number 1. Have you done any skincare today? And I am not talking about slapping on some random SPF you found in the middle console of your car. Like, man, woman, whoever you are, there's just no excuse these days for not even having like a quick 3-step routine. And I know you know this, but just a reminder, you don't need an elaborate creme de la mer $4,000 routine. Obviously, if you have it, all the more power to you. But let me tell you, I'm juggling multiple clients at the moment, projects, trying to stay fit. I'm actually currently on the live chat with the Commonwealth Courts portal to try and finalize my divorce. So, all while co-parenting. It's a circus act. So I know how you feel if you feel a little overwhelmed to do this. Finding time for a skincare routine, it's kind of like trying to catch a unicorn. And I think I've got it tough, but I have this friend and she has got 3 kids, which, as you know, in today's world is like the equivalent of having a dozen toddlers running around at once. So hats off to her. She handles those little humans like a boss in the boardroom, but she needs some serious self-care moments, probably more than me or most people we know. But this is also a zero martyr zone. No more sacrificing ourselves for the kids. It is time to sneak in those mini moments of bliss in front of the wash basin. And I know the kids are screaming and the house looks like a tornado hit it, but trust me, the TV will keep them alive for 15 minutes. So wash away the chaos, tone down the stress, take a few moments, slap on some serums, and show that mirror who's boss. You've got to take your time to shine, and your skin will thank you later. But most importantly, you know what they say, happy, freshly slathered skin equals happy life. Number 2, have you deep cleaned your space lately? And this is not even about being tidy. Not really. You know those people who go to India or Tibet and join an ashram or a silent retreat community and everyone is allocated a job and it's usually to clean the venue or the bathrooms or something with a toothbrush? They make people do that, not just for the free labor, although I'm pretty sure that is a bonus, but it is to humble the spirit a little bit. Because we all get caught up in our jobs, and some of us are even really lucky and have a weekly or a monthly cleaner, which is great. But what that monthly cleaner is doing is robbing us of an opportunity to feel a sense of achievement. Because cleaning is not really about cleaning. It is about cleansing. And I mean, there is nothing that feels better than just getting something done. And cleaning is so rewarding because it is so literal and physical, and you can see the results of your labor right there. And in a world where our inbox is just constantly refreshing with new shit to do, it is like entering a whole new dimension of self-care wizardry. You scrub away the grime and suddenly your life starts making sense. It's like a therapy session, but with a vacuum cleaner involved. I promise, by deep cleaning every corner and crevice, you will find mental clarity you didn't even know you needed. And stress, gone, that's out of there. You get this, like, while you're sweeping and mopping, you're actually feeling a sense of mindfulness without even knowing it. You're all zen and you're in the zone, and then when you clear out the clutter, your mind goes, whoa, breathing space. So you're creating a chill, peaceful atmosphere that's kind of like a spa day for your brain. So your living space gets a glow up as well as your well-being, and you didn't even have to go to an ashram to do it. I personally cherish the cleaning time to catch up on podcasts. I listen to a really motivational one while I'm on my knees behind the toilet bowl, and I promise you it is so good for the soul. So put that on your list today. Number 3 is, have you tried a new recipe or have you baked something delicious from scratch today? Because you know all those recipes you've saved from TikTok? It is time to take them out of exile in your collections folder and put at least one of them to good use. Like cleaning, cooking something new, or whipping up a dish from scratch isn't just about satisfying your hunger. Usually, actually, I find myself not really that hungry after cooking something quite elaborate, so that's kind of weird, but it's an epic self-care journey that you can take without leaving your house. So when you dive into a fresh recipe, you're not just unlocking flavors and aromas and all that jazz. It's actually like a mindfulness practice and taking your mind away from ruminating thoughts or putting your head solely onto a project unrelated to the things that might be causing you stress. Plus, there is just something deeply satisfying about seeing raw ingredients transform into a masterpiece. Like, you're not just cooking food, you are cooking up a sense of accomplishment. And I'm starting to see a theme around here. Maybe accomplishment is actually the secret to Zen. I don't know, something to think about. Anyway, this is just a short ep this week because I'm working on getting a great interview for you guys next week, and there's quite a bit of prep to go into it, so I appreciate you bearing with me. And because the cell line of this podcast is divorce, dating, and doing you, I feel like we've covered the doing you element this week, and we discussed a lot of the divorce stuff last week. I think we need to get back into the dating pool, mostly because I'm back there, and I actually find through the process of doing the Self-Care-ish podcast that I learn a little more about how to be a better dater with every bit of research or chat I do with an expert. So don't forget, jump into that Google Sheet in the show notes for some more hashtag Saturday Self-Care-ish inspo. And if you love us, and by us, I mean me and my cat, throw us a review on Apple Podcasts. And we're also on Instagram at Self-Care-ish Podcast and TikTok at Megan Lonergan. Also, if you have any thoughts, feel free to leave a voice note at selfcare-ish.com.au. In the meantime, stay tuned and stay self-care-ish.